Can you
You
believe I
can
read
maybe
this book in January?
in January.
Yeah. That's how long we could have
Um,
recorded this episode ago.
why didn't you? Oh my god! Why didn't we record it?
I kept on pushing it back.
If I can remember the Wi-Fi password, I could potentially start editing episodes now.
Look at you go.
Aren't you so happy?
Yeah.
So much more shit would be cut out if I was editing.
True.
I don't have to eat.
How dare you eat food? How dare you eat applesauce and not share, honestly.
I have like 27 more cups in the fridge. You want some?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll bring you some applesauce.
Okay, you want to grab your package while you're here?
Yes.
It's on the dining room table.
You know what will make my life great?
And Evie.
True. He's outside. Knowing my fucking Wi-Fi password. Because I tried to do shit on Google, and I'm like, why is it not working? And I'm like, I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi. That in the fucking napkin holder. There's nothing in the napkin holder.
Alright, you ready to start this episode?
Sure, bestie.
Hello. Welcome to Fish and Flower Podcast. I'm Flower, aka Rose, and my fun fact of the day is that I'm changing how I'm editing this podcast. I really hope I keep in the part where you said you may start editing the podcast now or trying to help. Because the fact that you said that, I was like, I know my intro is going to be about how I'm changing how I edit. Mine's the 2 Mindfuck episodes because the audio's already uploaded to what I was using, but they're changing, completely doing a rehaul of what I've been using to edit the podcast in June, and I'm pissed about it, and I tested out the new system, and I hate it. So instead I'm using what I've been using to make the YouTube videos, which means if I do things properly and I like how they look, the YouTube videos may not just be the thumbnail the whole time.
Oh?
Things me progress. The fun part is that it's more work for me, and that's really great for me with carpal tunnel. Acting up right now.
What I'm for. That's what I'm for.
Fun in like 2 hours when I go to start editing this. Aren't you excited? For me.
Partially.
Thank you. Do your intro.
My name is Fish, aka Stingray. Hell yeah, connecting to the Wi-Fi. And the other day, why are you speaking to me?
Not as speaking to you.
I saw my laptop the other day. Now I can do shit! The other day, it was like yesterday, the day before. It was Sunday. It's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, today's Tuesday.
Also, do you ever just go through your laptop that you've had since you were like 12, and then you find edits? Black and white edits to a gay-ass sad song of you and the girl that made you realize you were gay. Or are you normal?
If I went through my computer from when I was 12, it would just be a lot of Avengers fanfic, so I like yours more. Yours is more normal, honestly.
Normal! I feel like even just a few years ago, it would have made me spiral, but it kind of made me giggle.
I don't want to read my old Captain America fanfic. I'm not even a Captain America girl anymore. I'm a Bruce Banner girl now.
Like, all that's on there is 5 seconds. And, like, random ass emo shit for when I was 12. Because, like, it's like the Halsey Tumblr era shit, you know?
Anyways.
I thought about the lyric videos because that was a thing I used to do.
On today's episode, we have Untamed. I did pull up the book to look at the content warnings to see that there's none listed. Fuck you. I know it's self-published and it's not a popular book. Do not worry, people, because, and hear me out, it's not like you're gonna have to wait a whole entire fucking year for the third one. Because I, like, realized this morning that it's been almost exactly a year since we did the first one in the series. Because it was during a power outage that I was reading it and taking notes by hand. I switched to taking notes by hand. And it was this whole big thing. And my carpal tunnel acted up. Really, apparently it's like this time of year, every year that it acts up. And it's really funny because we just had a power outage at the same time. And everything. So, I love how it's been almost exactly a year. But don't worry, next month I have the last book in the series planned for the podcast.
Technically, it being taking so long is your fault because I've already read this trilogy. Like,
I read it in January. It's just taken me 2 months to record this. Another thing, I did type up like 3 pages of notes, which is the first 12 chapters. There's like 43 chapters in this book. But I got sick of transcribing them. So the first few chapters are me like putting effort into transcribing my notes from my highlights on the book. And then the like past like not the dog's barking, the past like maybe 8 chapters were me like this past few days being like, I don't give a fuck anymore, and putting minimal effort in. And then it leads up to today where there's absolutely no effort put in. I'm just reading from my highlights after chapter 12, okay? Thankfully, the way I took highlights and notes on the book itself, it's gonna be real easy. It's gonna be real easy. We're just gonna hope and pray it's not 2 hours long. Thank you. Don't stop letting me make these episodes be so long. We need so much help.
I don't have any internet access. You know, I can't get to the Wi-Fi.
Okay. You have fun playing with your computer. I'm just gonna record this episode of the podcast.
I have to learn how to use a damn laptop.
Content warnings is basically if you remember Atlas/Dr. Highborn, the evil enterprise, blah blah blah. Basically, anything that an evil scientist and evil god could do to a person and or animal, that is happening in this book. So beware. I mean, it literally immediately starts with forced sterilization. So good times.
I love how you're like forced sterilization, and I'm like, oh man, because I lost the dinosaur game.
Not the dinosaur game. You can like just play the dinosaur game without that now. They made it so it's like an actual app. You know this.
Well, why? The Wi-Fi's connected, but Google say no Wi-Fi.
Well, Google them.
I could have told you that one.
If you're watching this on YouTube, the first one will be first up in the cards. So like, check that out.
If you're not, you have to do work. Sorry about it.
The book starts Dr. Highborn's POV. There's more of him in this book, which is interesting. I do like getting more of like the villain side of this. As I mentioned, forced sterilization. It's like, you know, in ye olden days when doctors, I guess it still technically happens, but it's more educational and whatnot nowadays, and it's not like anyone can just walk into a theater and watch someone cut another person open.
That is fucking insane that stuff like that.
Like, it was considered like entertainment to watch amputations. Like, what? So imagine that, but for sterilization of a shifter. Yeah, it's like, it goes really into depth. Like, it's like pages and pages into depth about what he's doing and why, and it's...
I don't remember any of this, honestly.
It's a time. The plan is to use gene therapy to kill off most of the shifter genes, and then sterilize to make it so they can't reproduce. Basically erasing the shifter gene in general. Also, they do this to children. I feel like I should bring this up.
I don't understand what problem shifters are posing to these regular ass people. So, like, what is the point besides prejudice, you know? There is none.
Oh god, my notes are so funny. But yeah, no, he does it to children. There's, like, there's a whole thing that he's, like, thinking about this, and he's thinking about this in a complete detached monotone voice, right? About how, like, sometimes they're screaming and they're crying, especially the children. The children are the worst because they're always, like, screaming and crying, but they're not real people because they're just shifters. And so there's no way that they have emotion, and that's why they must be destroyed. But they have no real emotion. It's just fake. It's just to make you stop, and he knows better. So literally my notes are like, he's like thinking about how they must be destroyed because they have no real emotion. It's all fake. In his most internal monologue, like, just completely non-emotional, analytical way possible, making him the non-human in the situation, right? You see what she did there? You see?
Yeah. Anyways, I got to 700 and then it glitched, and so I ran into a bird, and I'm upset.
Oh my god. This is like that time I played Stardew Valley while we were recording.
Yeah, during the Wicker King episode. How do you think I felt about that?
So, Carrie Ann, who is Ren's bestie, helped distract the scientist people at the end of the last book. I did, in my notes I said, so remember when this happened? And then I wrote, I didn't, but this book reminded me, thank God. Yeah, it does that a lot. That was all a lie, and she secretly wanted their test subjects. She put a tracker on their car, so good times. His plan is to basically torture her to the point of complete weakness and then send her in to incite Ren's empathy so she can get close to her again. But Carrie Ann is still a fighter and gets to the bars when he's watching her and bites his finger. And so he bashes her head in until she's completely knocked out. It's very gruesome. There's also, like, the fact that he's forcing a sickness onto a bunch of shifters, but mostly the one we see is her, purposely making her sick, and all this stuff. Just basically very against every medical code, ever, and scientific code.
Most things that applies to most things they're having in this book.
Yeah. So one of the other doctors who was there, who says Carrie Ann is pretty at one point, and I kind of got an ick vibe, so that's fine.
Yeah,
questions whether it's better for them to let Ren fight Atlas, and if she dies, oh well, and if she wins, she's easier to kill rather than Atlas. But, here's the thing, Atlas kind of knows everything.
Because he's fucking Atlas, like,
yeah,
he's so
it's later described that he literally is the bacteria. So, like, he's everywhere. And also he can split himself into multiple pieces, so he's just literally everywhere at all times. And can hear everything. So just Atlas shows up as a ton of bugs and kills them as he's pleading for his family. And then, as the doctor's just forced to watch this, and then, Martin, Highborn, the main one, and then afterwards Atlas just makes a smiley face. With the bugs. You know, he may be a villain, but he's kind of comedic villain.
Sure.
So, then after that, it goes to Ren's POV. It's been a week since the end of book 1. They're hiding out in a hotel room. Luke doesn't regret killing the mutant that attacked Ren last book. There's a dog coming up to my room. Puppy! So, the only reason Luke's still with the crew is because he was promised a fake ID for when they cross the border. And he wanna get out of there, right? Kite is currently depressed because he saw a bunch of his family and community get killed. Remember that time?
Yeah.
Dust is having an existential crisis, and Creedence thinks Ren is naive, though she's kind of becoming the de facto leader. Ren now calls Creedence Cree, which I recognize is probably so the author doesn't have to write out Creedence every time, which I get. Like, I only had to write it out a few times as chapter headers because he's only, like, the POV of 3 chapters, and I'm still mad about it, but, I still love it. I
think he gets more in the third one. I can't remember, though.
He's better. I forgot to mention that in the first one, it's very much like Ren learning the truth about a lot of stuff, and then she bangs Kite. This one is, she bangs all of them separately, right? But also has dreams of having threesomes and also all of them at the same time. I'm assuming the third one, she just bangs all of them at the once.
Yeah.
They
all bang.
Don't worry. Luke found the tracker Carrie Ann had put the car, and now the boys are blaming each other. Dust feels upset about their handlers being killed. Oh yeah, that's another thing where like the head honcho people missing, assumed dead. And Dust feels guilty for not telling anyone until recently. Rain is viewing Kite as her first love, and Dust as her oldest friend, and Creedence as someone she wants to bang. Which, I get the Creedence one. She's low-key scared of Luke's darkness, but also makes her want to get closer to him. There's a safe house the handlers set up, and Dust wants to check it out, even though it's probably trapped from Atlas's people. But he wants to go and get supplies from it. There may even be like there's new IDs and whatnot there. Ren wants to go with, but everyone says no since she's irreplaceable, unlike the rest of them. Luke decides he's gonna start training her in fighting so she can fight back. And she doesn't trust her heart after learning everything about her adoptive parents did, and therefore is unsure about forming the mate bonds that she kind of needs to do. That's the whole thing. Anyways, Kite and Ren go on a walk, and then it's just a lot of them banging on the fourth floor in the rain. Remember when he was depressed about a ton of people dying 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
They're kind of cute for a bit.
I don't know, sometimes you just have to bang it away, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't know.
There's like this whole thing where they're talking about their dreams of just being in bed all day, and he says that she's like, get up only to go buy some cupcakes, and he's like, no, I make you red velvet from scratch. And while Kite may be my least favorite of the boys, in parentheses, I'm sorry, he's just kind of boring / vanilla in comparison, but I can admit that's kind of hot. Also, from his POV, we learn shifter children can only be conceived with focused intent by both parents when banging, which is something. But he doesn't tell her this. So they're just raw dogging on the ground, and she's not worrying about the possibility of children, apparently. That is a straight up line I wrote.
I
love how I write notes sometimes. No, I would just read the next slide I wrote. Kite is an artist and he wants to draw red like one of his French girls. Parentheses actually wrote in quotes Titanic reference despite the fish never seeing it on that note. So
I know that's from fucking Titanic, Bessie.
I don't every time I write boys in these notes, I'm also spelling it B-O-I-S. Anyway, so one of the boys doesn't know it, but they have the location of her sister locked in their memory.
Why would you tell me that?
She tells Kite about this, and they make a plan to bring it up to Dust. Because even if it isn't him, he has information about Creedence and Luke's background, so he will have any information about possible connections. Creedence went on a walk, and he comes back with $100 and expensive selling glasses he stole from a guy who poured coffee on a stranger on the street.
Hell yeah.
He agrees to the safe house plan with Dust and offers to go with him as backup. And then, in parentheses, remember when I called Dust vegan Noah Shaw? Because I also forget he's British. I will never not bring that up. So, the coin that, Ren lost, that Dust gifted her when they were kids, he gives her a new one that she can also be used as a tracking device, and he drilled a hole in it and uses some string to turn into a necklace for her, which gives me a mix of Dean from Gilmore Girls making Rory that bracelet in like one of the first episodes for her birthday, and also Spock gifting O'Hara that tracking device necklace in Star Trek Beyond. I'm pretty sure when I started to type up these notes is when I last rewatched Star Trek, the 2000 teens ones. Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. It's not my fault. 2 out of 3 of them were streaming for free. And also they're grade A movies. Thank you. The end.
What the fuck? Anyways, you nerd.
Thank you. I'm drinking out of a Doctor Who mug right now, so.
Why?
She kisses him on the cheek and wishes him good luck, which causes him to squeeze her waist, And then Creed steps up behind her and puts his hand on her hip, saying he'll take his don't die kiss too, and makes out with her.
Hell yeah.
She imagines having a threesome with Dustin Creedence, and then imagines Kite joining too. And I quote me, "Hey, she just lost her virginity a week ago."
It was a week ago!
Yep. Because this takes place a week after the end of the first one, and at the end of the first one is when she banged Kite at the very end.
Yeah.
So it's been about a week.
How many people has she slept with and she... Oh my god. Oh my god.
So anyway, then she also makes out with Dust. Corinne slaps her ass. Kite squeezes her hand, letting her know it's okay to open up her heart and her bed to the other man.
What the fuck is bonjour?
She decides to make a plan to find a different marked canine shifter so Luke can leave.
Christy, I have a question. Do you know what bonjour is? It says, hold on, let me tell you what it says. It says, bonjour, Apple Inc. 10/14/2015. What the fuck is that?
I saw that on my computer because I also cleaned out my computer today. I think it's just a thing that makes it so you can use Apple devices on.
Well, I don't need that then.
Yeah.
I have.
It makes sense for me because I have an Apple phone, but she blows Dust and Credence goodbye kisses, and then Credence says a Lynx, because that's his shifting persona, jumps on Griffin Dust's back, and they fly off. I cried laughing so hard my dog left me. There's jokes about piggyback rides, and Kite turns into a bear and gives her a ride through the forest. That is the next chapter. That is the whole entire next chapter.
You mean Twilight?
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost like her pen name is Bella Jacobs.
LOL.
So, this is where we learn more about Dr. Highborn. He has a wife named Beatrice. One of the scientists is calling him at home to inform him the crew learned of the tracker, but they know where the safe house is, and they're 90% sure of where they'll go next. He has a granddaughter named Wendy who witnessed her parents, which is his daughter and son-in-law, and her brother, be killed by wolf shifters. The doctor keeps her sedated at night to make her sleep, which is kind of questionable in very many ways. Right. This is why he hates shifters. The guy who planned the hit on his family is permanently locked up due to framing by the U.S. government. Carrion is as they expected, which is really bad, with the virus eating at her brain. So when Ren finds her, and I quote, long-term memory is going to be Swiss cheese. So she won't be able to tell them anything about his doctor and his plans with Atlas. The wolves that killed his family were slaughtered by Atlas for the low price of Beatrice's legs from the knees down. That is another direct quote from me. I'm 98% sure that while reading this, I was very sure these wolf shifters were going to be Luke's bio family, because no one can, figure out his bio family situation, right? I don't know if it's still them, but it is basically confirmed that, because, Atlas can, control people's minds, when you're in shift form. That's another thing. So, basically, it is low-key confirmed that the attack on Highborn's family was actually just 100% Atlas controlling these wolves to do it, so that he could get Highborn on his side. Next up is a Carrie-Anne chapter in which we learn her background of basically, most of her family died in a plane crash, including her mother, and after that, there was, and I quote, yay, child abuse by her father. That was a me quote. She was, on the streets by the time she was 16, preferring the violence of strangers over that of her own family. That's when Dr. Highborn found her. He made her feel special and turned her into a shifter, and whatnot. Bring it to Arcane, another nerdy thing, because I just finally watched season 1. Kind of reminds me of Jinx and her, relationship with, I can't remember his name right now, but, her father figure kind of gives me that vibes. Except, even more questionable than that one. Dustin Creedence find her at the safe house. Bren has a dream where, we learn, she's talking to her father, and, this is where we learn her father was a dragon shifter. hence why she has fire abilities. Her dream father tells her that she's gonna have to life fast, and I quote, with Dust to access his memories, and then Luke starts training her, and he takes off his shirt, and basically we learn he has a bunch of knife scars on his chest. Yay. More hints at his troubled background. Kite's sister is suddenly there. They've learned Sierra's been alive this whole time, and was taken by Atlas. He tortured her, and piece by piece, like inch by inch, removed one of her arms up until I think her elbow, but it was like tiny bits at a time, right? Until she agreed to help him, and that's how they were found at the reservation at the end of the last one. The reason Atlas kept her alive is because she has the Beta mate mark, so that he could force marry her and then kill her, to get more powerful. But she escaped. Only shifters who have gone through the portal to Atlas's land can go through without him, so they need Sierra's help unless they find another way in. Right? Dust and Creedence return right when they're debating whether or not they can trust her. Sierra says that Atlas knows everything because of the bacteria thing. Also, she describes that when under his control, she literally couldn't hear or do anything without him allowing her, which is creepy. Like, the mind control thing was already creepy. You didn't have to get even creepier. Also, they test to make sure that he's like, there's no like magical tracking on her, and there isn't. So they decide to keep her and Carrie-Anne around, and for the time being, and if they find another option, great. If not, cool. They steal a camper. It is a beige camper. That is important because Creedence calls it the beige. Dust thinks they should go east. Luke says south. Kite says west. Creedence is keeping his thoughts to himself, which is new. Ren believes infecting Carrie-Anne with a virus. Also the drug that Highborn, or the disease that Highborn gave Carrie-Anne, was the one that Ren's adoptive parents forced her to believe she had. Which is creepy, and also she suspects a message / threat for her. And Creedence says that he'll try to find out if they also took her adoptive parents, so that's nice. They're also trying to find info on Luke's.
At the core, it is a silly little shifter romance book. At the same time, the plot is kind of crazy.
I know, right? They're trying to find info on Luke's past, but no one can tell them what his path of origin, which is a big deal. Because the one way you end up alone, a lone wolf, is crimes against other wolves. Basically my theory at the time, blah, 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 had to do, because he has, like, the dead brother, and so I thought maybe that dead brother was the one who was in, like, the pack that went after Highborn's family, right? And I thought maybe that's why Luke eventually decides to join the team, because to get revenge for his family. I was wrong. So he's got 2 older half-siblings, 1 sister, 1 brother, and the brother, I think, is in a pack and hasn't said anything. They find his sister, and they're gonna try to get information from her. Some good old Creed's making out against a wall, whatnot. He's all like, hey, the mate bond doesn't happen if we don't, like, state that it's gonna happen, blah, blah. Like, it's this whole thing where he's explaining that the whole mating with Kite was on accident, and they can choose to bang without making the bond attach if she wants to do some nasty. I'm pretty sure they're also making out against the dumpster as this is happening, and then Dust comes in and interrupts them, and I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up, I was getting some Creedence action.
Presumably there's a fucking dumpster. There's, like, not a dumpster. There's, like, a wall. So why the dumpster? Just a question.
I don't know. Carrie-Anne turns into a squirrel to heal, but it may be a trap. Like, she can't, like, turn back into human if she turns into squirrel, right? And the crew realizes she was made in a lab by Dr. Highborn. Every time I typed out his name in this, by the way, I typed out Dr. Douche. I did not type out Dr. Highborn. Unless it was a chapter header to say, like, this is his POV, I typed out Dr. Douche, which is very funny. Alright.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Luke, we learn more hints of his dangerous past, like he hasn't shifted in 7 years. And he's not gonna shift now because no fur, no fury. Um, they learn that there were, I think, from Kite's sister, the mutant monster things that attack the reservation, they have computer chips in their brains, and so there's like no way that they have controls of their own actions. Which like low-key makes Luke feel bad because he did kill one, and like it didn't have control of his own actions. It was being mind controlled. It was definitely in pain, all this stuff. But like the pain that's described that these monsters go through is horrendous. But he's all like, it was to save Red, and it's worth it, right?
Sure.
They also recognize that remote control shifter soldiers is kind of the thing that would make certain government people very happy. And because, it makes fighting wars really easily when you have disposable mutant, remote controlled mutants, right? Like, all the stuff. Anyways, Red is no longer being viewed as naive, just kind-hearted, which she is like trying to be the opposite of, and it looks like she'd make a great politician. There's some wolf packs around the area. That's questionable. Why they're around the area? How did Luke not notice? Stuff like that. I know why. Ren shifts into a bunny rabbit. Right, and he has the urge to press his lips to the pink of her paw. That's normal. She's the kind of home I longed for as a tiny kid. And so then he picks her up and takes her into the camper, trying not to enjoy the feeling of holding her close. And then he calls himself ally. Yay! A bunch of friend chapters. Let's go.
I would hope so. It kind of is a whole, I don't know.
So they're going through like all the fake passports that were in the safe house, right? And the one for the wolf shifter they were supposed to get, right? The picture on it is not Luke. It's not Luke, which means they have the wrong shifter. That's suspicious. That's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, she cuddles Dustin in her sleep. They're gonna go to Canada. And then there's the grade A line, Luke is a treble enchilada smothered in treble sauce with a side of frustration salsa.
That's kind of funny. I kind of have to giggle. Like,
I know, right? Like, why would you write it like...
so unserious. Sometimes you have to read an unserious little shifter romance and go on with your life. Like...
My leg is cramping so bad and we're ignoring it. So Sierra is having trouble, like, she's having PTSD, obviously, for obvious fucking reasons. So, she really doesn't eat with the others, she really can't do cramped spaces, which is an issue when there's, like, 7 people in a camper. I guess technically one of them's a squirrel at all times. So, 6 people and a squirrel, in a camper, constantly, kind of makes it difficult for her, right? So, we learned that if you stay in conform for too long, you get stuck that way. And that's one way that humans got rid of shifters in the past. Lock a shifter in human form, or animal form, in a cage, and don't let them out for long enough, and pretty soon you have nothing left but the animal. You can't shift behind bars, which is an issue because Carrie-Anne is in squirrel form, has stayed in squirrel form for multiple days now, in a cage. She won't let her out of the cage, and she won't shift back at anything. So they're very worried. And Kite explains that she won't die. She'll just go wild, become an animal, and lose all memory of who and what she used to be. She'll have a simpler life. It'll be different, shorter, but no less worth living. And all this stuff. So
You know, this is kind of sad. This
I know,
part.
right? So in order to communicate with Carrie Ann, Ren purposely shifts into a squirrel. Um, and then we get this great A. Okay, I'm just gonna read this whole highlight from Carrie Ann. He's in my DNA. As soon as I go human, he'll run the Trojan horse protocol. My tail rebels in response. What is that? What does it do? It doesn't do anything. It's me, Brand. I'm the Trojan horse. He made me sick so you would take me in, and stole my memory so I couldn't warn you about the danger until it was too late. But there's a glitch somewhere. I shouldn't have been able to shift without a trigger, but I did. She clings more tightly to the bars as another seizure grips her full force, arching her spine to make her voice almost unintelligible as she adds, "But he's pulling, calling. I can feel it tearing away inside me. If I leave this body, he'll be in control, and I can't let that happen. I won't let him tell him where you are. I won't help him destroy my best friend." And then she purposely stays squirrel and stays that way forever. She's squirrel.
At least squirrels are cute.
Anyways, Dr. Highboard, Carrie Ann is labeled as subject 7, which makes you question who are the other 6. There's a camera in her eye, so they saw all this. So basically, they're watching her as squirrel form run away, and they're like, "Should we just pull the dead switch and all this stuff?" And he's like, "Nah." And then a random animal just comes and eats her. She dead.
Yeah. So sad.
Weeks pass and there's no word from Atlas about what he should do next, and he's worried. And so because he's so worried, he makes a plan with his lawyer to review his will and whatnot, and make sure everything's in order for his wife and granddaughter. Normal things. Okay, we're on to a Dust POV.
Yeah.
There's only one high-ranking member of the Resistance still alive. His name is Bill. He has nothing on Lucas, aka Luke. And the LA Pack hasn't said anything when they try to ask questions. So they're worried that Atlas is gonna run out of what he has, a dungeon full of women in his stronghold. That's just a thing. And he's gonna run out eventually because shifters have longer lifespans, but they don't live forever, and so eventually he's gonna run out of people to eat if he does end the world type thing, right? So what's happening here? What's his forever plan? And then they question how he forces these women into the bond. Is it some kind of mind control? And if so, does that count as conscious control? Because you have to have or conscious choice because you have to choose it and whatnot. So Ren decides she needs a flight form and it needs to be bigger than a bread box. Because Dusk can carry 2 people as a griffin. If she can lock down a form big enough to carry 2, then they have an emergency exit strategy off the Matlin just in case. Right? Makes sense. Alright, back to Ren. Basically, she does a physical bond with Dusk. That's it. That's the whole entire chapter. I'm not going to go into details. You don't need to know any more details. They just spawned.
Yeah.
And then the next chapter is Dust POV and...
or so, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
The next chapter is Dust and they bang. They're both from ancient bloodlines. Their blood can, heal and make other people stronger. Yeah. That's, a thing.
LOL.
So they're talking about Luke. You know when you bang a guy and then seconds later you talk about how your blood has magical powers and then talk about this other guy you've been hanging out with and you're probably gonna have to bang. Anyways, also I'd like I know you really like Luke, and I finally understood why while reading this one. So I finally got it. Creedence still top tier, but Luke is second place.
The way
I can just go away. I don't care about them. I prefer Sierra.
the reasons I like Luke are probably different than the reasons you like Luke. Just putting that out there.
So they're talking about Luke and how his name is Luke, and the other man that they were supposed to have, right, was named Lucas. There's a chance it's just a case of mistaken identity, not foul play on the part of the LA Pack or him, Luke himself. But the LA Pack knew Luke, and he wasn't part of their crew. But he was friendly with them. So therefore they knew he wasn't the Lucas Rivera that they were supposed to have. But they kidnapped him and brought him to them anyway, instead of the man who volunteered for the mission, which is questionable. And now they're refusing to take any phone calls. So, the original Lucas guy who was supposed to be in Luke's place has been missing for weeks since the night Luke was taken. So he's probably dead, or he's being held prisoner somewhere to keep us from finding out we have the wrong wolf.
Interesting.
So she shifts in the mid-air into a griffin, I'm pretty sure, because when they mated, she got to turn into his form now. That's an ability. Anyways, back to Ryan's POV. So basically, we learn that Luke's half sister, right, the one they were going to talk to, she's not Wolf. Like, she's not like a shifter at all. She's human, which is impossible with shifting, bang-a-wangin' reproduction shit. Sciencing, the shifter gene is dominant, therefore, if you do I'm just thinking of biology when we had to do, like, the whole thing with, like, genetics with the four square thing. I really hope someone understands what I'm talking about. The shifter gene is always the dominant one, so if she's not a shifter, but she's his half-sister, therefore, how is she human? Like, she should be shifter too, right? They have the same father, different mother, so there's a chance Luke's mother was part shifter, the father was part shifter, and that was enough to make him go wolf, while his sister, born to a purely human mother, didn't get the supernatural mojo.
Supernatural mojo, LOL.
Yeah, it's Cree saying that. Creedence.
I wish I had more thoughts for this, but my head is just empty today.
I feel that. Creedence is purposely blocking his mind from her new empathic abilities that she got from mating with Kite. We learned some of Creedence's background, which is that he's in the past did kinky modeling for rent money.
I'm sick. I forgot about that.
And eventually picked up enough on set to get behind the camera. So their theory about Luke's background is that he's lab made. That's why his sister isn't a shifter, and why his pack instincts are for shit. Why he couldn't track the other packs that were nearby. He's never been a part of a pack, so how the hell would he know how they work? But he still bears the mark. So only keyboard shifters have ever borne the mark. So this is weird, right? It's something you inherit, not something you whip up in a petri dish. But because, like, they make shifters with gene therapy, they think that just accidentally, some way, somehow, the genes they forced into him to make it so he was a wolf shifter, right? Happened to have some of the Theta mate DNA in it. So that's what happened. That's how he has the mark, but he isn't kinborn and all this stuff.
We're just doing all this shit.
Yeah. There's a bunch of sciencey stuff. I'm not going to describe it. Just know there's a bunch of sciencey stuff in which they describe how they used to force shifters into existence from humans, and how it seems very gruesome. Um, so, yeah, no, because, like, the way that they used to do is they used to, like, just force the whole gene in there. Now, like doing gene splicing and blah, blah, blah. It's more elegant and whatnot. But since, like, the way they used to do it, is more crude, and whatnot, that's, like, a thing, right? And around the times they stopped doing that is around the time that he started shifting. So, uh, since he is lab made, he won't have a kin gift to share with her. But he'll still make her stronger. And the chances of them finding another marked wolf before they head off to face the big bad are basically nothing. And then we have, and I quote, "Crazy hands slides into my panties. Your safe word is flea collar."
What the fuck? Flea collar?
Yep. Anyways, he's finger banging her in the woods, and I would like to know, my note on this is, they're in the woods. She probably has so many UTIs right now. I love my note taking sometimes. So they're in the middle of sexy times, right? But he ends up having a vision in the process, and then she goes to help him, and then she ends up seeing the vision too. Right. And so he is basically, like, in extreme pain, and they have to work together to get him out of it. Um, I, 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 who,
Not the yandere simulator.
why do you have that?
You're asking me why what, like 15, 14-year-old me, whatever, had
Yes.
yandere simulator? Be serious.
Um.
I just know. I just found it.
Anyways, now they've confirmed, and I quote, "Luke's superpower is being the ultimate magical wet blanket."
What does that mean?
Basically it means when Cranes goes supervision mode and is in extreme pain and they can't get him out of it and all this stuff. By touching Luke, he was able to be pulled out of it. Which basically means if they have too heavy visions and whatnot, Luke's the one that can pull them out, which is good to know. Anyways, Credence feels bad that she had to see the vision, so he hugs her. And then she says, "No, won't get snot on you," because she's crying. He says, "Good, I like snot." And then they say that they're more than like each other.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure this is him saying this, right? Where the reason why he kept his pants on when they were having fun in the woods is he's worried that if they bang, it won't just be banging. He's going to, and I quote, "make love to you, baby." And since I'd rather not get into a one-sided situation with a mate bond, and then she's all like, "Yeah, no, it wouldn't be one-sided. Let's go, party time."
I
And then basically there's a Star Wars reference. I'm pretty sure she says, "I love you." No, he says, "I love you," and she says, "I know," which is a Star Wars thing.
I'm rolling my eyes. You can't see it, but I am.
Anyway, she doesn't know what Star Wars is, so that's a whole thing. And so he says, "I love you, Ren Wander." It's this whole thing. It's very cute. Anyways, Luke POV, so apparently he's, like, what's called vision blind. That's why he was able to pull creams out, and that's a thing that normal shifters deal with. Um, 1 out of every 5 or 6 of them lacks the warrant to communicate telepathically with other shifters, which is where I have the great theory, right, for me making more Marvel references. Luke was made shifter via experiments in prison similar to Luke Cage.
Okay.
I know you don't understand the reference, but it was very funny. And now I want to watch Daredevil again.
Girl, anyways, now I'm currently trying to figure out why Spotify will not open on my laptop. Anyways. Just thought you should know.
So, Ren and Sierra have a cute little moment, where they're talking about, life, and it's brought up that, in the quote-unquote church that Ren was in the first book, you're supposed to stay virgins until marriage, only sleep with your husband or wife, and avoid being gay if at all possible, which makes Sierra snort, because she's a lesbian. Let's go, lesbians! And she's like, okay, and if it wasn't possible, and she says, then you were supposed to keep it a shameful little secret. They used to say, love the sinner, hate the sin, all the time when LGBTQ issues came up in meetings for the shelter. And then, the line, you won't be able to save half of everyone. There won't be enough inhabitable planet or enough resources. Those are the cold hard facts of where we're headed. Basically, stabilizing the idea that everything in the background with like the evil people and all this stuff is basically allegory for, along with the church, in this book is basically allegory for a lot of issues when it comes to people of color and or LGBTQ plus issues, and discrimination, and also just like conversion camps. There we go. And the abuse and murders and all those fun things and hate crimes, which I'm pretty sure is why Kite is Native American. Like, you can connect the dots. Like, I start connecting the dots in the first one, and then this one it very much went very heavily like, yeah, that's what, it's all just the big bad thing that's ending the world. It's also anti-gay and all this other stuff. You can see where she's going with it. Good times. So Dr. Highborn returns home, and it looks like there's been a break-in. He finds his wife upside down in the pool, totally dead. And then near him, in a bunch of twitching ants on the concrete near the water, Atlas has spelled out, make it right, kill the mates, or Wendy is next. Good times! Right? Also, there could also totally be a whole thing about how religion is evil and whatnot, because Atlas is considered a god in this world, right? And so, like, also the way that they get people to, like, experiment and torture and abuse them is through the church, and then this god is the ultimate evil. Like, the scientist is bad, but the ultimate evil is Atlas. Like, he's the one controlling all this. And he's basically God. So there could be, like, a whole thing about religion. You can see where she pulled many ideas out to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we get a cringe chapter, and it's very short. Literally my note on this, I have, like, one highlight, which is, and I quote, I'm going to show her why once you go links, you never go back. And then my note on this chapter is, why is the first of only 3 creedence chapters so short?
I agree.
And then we get the Ren chapter, where, basically, they bang. Also, we get the fact that creedence likes it a little dirty, and by a little dirty, he likes to occasionally spank, and he's not against anal, and he's not into men, but if she really wants to have a threesome, he's down.
Like, honestly, she could have gone harder with creedence. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, The way the harder, dirty one occasionally likes to spank you. Like, I'm sorry,
Like,
what?
commit to the bit, man. Like, not, you don't have to go crazy, but like,
So, he takes her to a natural hot spring for the banga-wanga. Right? Oh yeah, we're on another creedence chapter, by the way. We're on another creedence chapter already. Out of 3, we've already gotten to 2. So they're talking about the vision stuff. And part of the visions was that they have kids as a group. They have kids, and he's all like, "Oh no, I'm gonna make sure those kids happen." Right? Um, and he's already in love with a little girl that looks like Ren and all this stuff. So good times. They they built a bond. Yay! And then right afterwards, literally right afterwards, they bang and the bond forms. They're under attack. Hybern's there and they're under attack. Literally, they bang and then seconds later. Let me just have my credence.
no, we're not allowed credence, apparently.
Fucking hate it. Taking is a hate crime.
I agree.
So we're back to Ren's POV. Dust is in Griffin form. Having a good time. Kite is in bear form. And Luke is just fighting people with a gun. Fighting people, a bunch of armored Hummers. He's just shooting them with a pistol. I don't think that's gonna do much of anything. The camper's on fire. She's like, I need to shift into something that can fly and big and that can channel fire. And then she's like, oh yeah, my weird dream about my bio dad. I forgot. I could totally turn into a fucking dragon. This is when she turns into a fucking dragon, and I'm so fucking happy. You don't understand.
I forgot that she turns into a fucking
Next
dragon.
I need her to turn into a T-Rex. That'd be the only thing that'd be
That's
cool.
possible. Do you think that's possible? Because if it's possible, that'd be funny as hell, actually.
I don't know, right? So she comes from a long line of fire-breathing dragons, the kind that ice dragons ran out of Europe hundreds of years ago because they were afraid of how much damage they could cause. If they decided to break the treaty they'd signed, vowing never to use our flame on other shifters. Which, may become an issue in the third one. She totally uses flame. Technically, it's on the genetically modified shifters, like the mutant kinds, but she does use it on shifters, therefore. Anyways, she turns into a dragon, and Dust turns into a human and falls to the ground, covered in blood.
LOL.
Anyways, Luke chapter, and fireman carries Dust's body.
I feel like if people are like, if I'm saying LOL, I don't actually mean LOL, besties.
So they all 5 of them have to go on to Ren's back as dragon because, Dust currently dead weight. He's barely alive right now, not conscious. And so Luke is like, hey, between the 5 of us, she's probably looking close to an extra 1,000 pounds. I think Kite is currently also still in bear form, so that also probably has something to do with it. Cause that's 600 pounds, my dude. Turn into a fucking human. And so it looks like it'll be easier on her if someone stays behind, and if that happens, I'm gonna do it. And then he calls her his woman, but says that he doesn't, or he thinks that he doesn't belong there, so it's no way that she's ever actually gonna be his. And he's just a fraud, and eventually he's gonna have to tell them the truth when they get out of harm's way. Anyways, Dust is awake, and we have his POV, where the choppers, oh yeah, there's also choppers, and they're chasing them. Imagine chasing a fucking dragon in a chopper. This is fucking wild. It goes really from 2 to 1,000 real fast. so they're just barely out of firing range, so if she slows down, they're gonna die. And that's kind of an issue because she's gonna tire out eventually. So Dust channels what's left of his energy into a cloaking spell because he can turn things invisible. He's basically Wonder Woman in this shit with the Invisijet. I already made a bunch of Marvel jokes. I had to make a DC reference too. I'm sorry.
I'm so confused.
The Wonder Woman has the invisible jet.
Okay.
And the second Wonder Woman 1984, there's this whole thing where she turns a jet invisible with just like random magical powers she didn't have in the previous movie. I don't fucking know. And so basically he does that, but to her so that they're invisible. Right. But they can bleed faster. So yay. So basically, he I think he tells Luke that the passports and the money is in his coat, and then he dies. His last thought is, "I'm a lucky man. It's my last thought, my last blink," and he dies. Anyways, Red POV. She's all freaking out. She's. I'd like to know also, when you shift back into human form, you are completely fucking naked. So she's completely fucking naked in the middle of the woods, freaking out because he's dead, and she's screaming that her blood could possibly bring him back. And they're like, "You can't do that. Blood magic is forbidden. It could break you, even kill you." And Grace is like, yeah, but also she's right. So, Crane says if we stop him before he takes too much, then we could save her from, him coming back as something unnatural. Basically, I'm pretty sure they're saying he could become a vampire. I'm pretty sure that's what they're saying. Which is so funny in this scene where he's gonna drink blood from her wrist. But he can't drink too much, because if he drinks too much, he's gonna become, insatiable and all this. You get the Twilight parallels, right? You get he's Edward and she's Bella right now.
So many of them.
I literally, my note about this is vampire dust. So he comes back to life. And the first thing he says when he wakes up is, "Don't ever do that again," to her. Calls her Snow, because his nickname for her is Snow White. Yay. So they're in southern Alberta.
Don't ask me. I don't know what's happening anymore.
And they have, they're in a hotel. Dust is, like, completely passed out. Creedence cleaned up his wounds. Basically, they admit that they not only, like, they don't officially know, but they have really suspect that Luke is, basically handmade, lab-made. And then they turn on the TV, and, there's they did on the news, a shot of the forest that they were in on fire. Interesting. So, it's being reported that 2 doctors with ties to Dr. Highborn received phone calls from, Dr. Highborn right after the fire started, who alleged to be on the mountain when the fire first broke out. Highborn accused the U.S. government of an elaborate conspiracy to conceal the existence of supernatural creatures, alleges to have received taxpayer money to fund illegal and unethical experiments on U.S. citizens without their consent, and insists he's being targeted by a supernatural being of, quote, unimaginable power who will kill us all, end quote. That's what the news is saying. Can you fucking imagine?
I'm sick. No.
So Highborn sent a package to everyone, and half the Pentagon is getting in-depth briefing on everything we know about Alice. Every colleague in his contact list, all his friends overseas. There's not, blanket big enough to cover up this whole conspiracy. He's making sure that everyone's going to know the truth. So, and then the news says, and I quote, a body believed to be that of Dr. Highborn was discovered earlier this evening as firefighters brought the worst of the fire under control. The doctor appears to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
I wonder.
Yep, that's just weird. That's weird. It's almost like he's the guy that he was trying to warn everyone of has magical powers of mind control. Also, so the whole thing about him sending a bunch of information to like everyone about what's really happening came from a Dr. Craven. And they also get information that her body was discovered on the sidewalk outside her apartment building, an apparent victim of suicide after a leap from her 25th story window. How suspicious that the two doctors that came forward about all this information suddenly died of suicide moments afterwards. How suspicious. How weird. They recognized that when, both when the reservation attack and also in the woods attack, when they were attacking, no one tried to shoot her. Which makes them think that maybe Highborn in his own way was like trying to make sure that she survived so that she could go up against Atlas, right?
Yes.
Dust is all like, I need that file Highborn sent. I have a contact in Pentagon. I need to get to secure computer and reach out, see if he has access. How does he have a contact in the Pentagon?
How does he have contact anywhere?
True. We're getting to the very end, don't worry. So, Luke POV, he says, that basically he's not Lucas, he's Luke. And he doesn't know if the LA pack took the wrong guy on accident or what. And he's not supposed to be there. He is lab made. All were young children from fucked up low income families south of LA, which also has a whole thing about, I was gonna say classism, but not really classism. You know what I'm trying to talk about. How lower income people are usually the ones that the system purposely doesn't help and also hurts and whatnot. Yeah, that whole thing. That allegory.
Yeah, I know.
Whoever did this to us was careful to pick kids no one was going to care too much about. Because of everything that happened, he was basically mute for years. And even after he started talking again and eventually went back to school, there are gaps in his memory, things that he can't remember. It wasn't until high school when he, figured out how to control the shifts, and he hasn't shifted since. Because, when he shifts, he's pure rage, all animal, nothing human in there. And he says that some things are better forgotten, like finding my kid brother and his girlfriend torn apart. I think it's insinuated that he was the one to actually kill his brother. And his girlfriend, accidentally when he shifted. And so in his whole, revenge, that's why he was arrested for wolf crimes. And that's why he's not a part of any pack, because he killed his own brother who was a wolf. And then also, on top of that, that's why he won't shift, and, basically my theory was completely fucking wrong. And other things. Yeah, that's why. Yay. So they're all like, you and Ren have to mate bond tonight. Dust has the file, and he sent it to his private email. If they pick up a burner phone, he can read it and debrief everyone in the morning. And so, he's all like, okay, fine, I'm down. She's my ride or die, this girl, and by the end of the night, she'll be my wife, mine for keeps. Anyways, this is where we get the Luke and Ren sex scene. Ren POV.
I think this would have gone over to the third one.
In her mind, Dust gives her solid ground to stand on. Crane brings mischief, laughs, and perspective into life. Kite is her unconditional, meant to be love, with bear hugs on top, but with Luke, she can face her inner demons.
Once again, bringing up the fact that I like Luke for different reasons than you probably like Luke.
The bond forms and she starts crying when it does. I think it's because, like, you can see the other one's memories when it happens, so she sees everything that was done to him and she just starts crying.
I'm fine, I'm normal.
So they wake up in the morning and he's all like, "Hey, did you sleep well?" And she says that as long as I was touching you, I didn't dream at all, not a single thing. My brain was big blank all night long, which she's very happy because she, like, keeps on having dreams either about Atlas or Atlas intervening in her dreams, or some weird shifter shit, possibly future things, especially since now she bonded with Creedence, so there's, like, a chance she can have, like, see her dreams and whatnot. So, like, all this stuff could possibly happen in her dreams. Like, she just has not had a well rested night without, like, weird freaky dreams since this has started, right? And so when she sleeps next to Luke, that doesn't happen, and she's like, thank fuck. Luke is possessive with a woman in his life. That's very good to know. But with Ren, she's mine, but also theirs. And as crazy as it sounds, it feels right, good. Like, this is the way it was always meant to be. Basically, accepting that maybe this is the family he was meant to have. Which is sweet and great, and fuck you, Bella Jacobs. How dare you? I don't need to have a working heart. It's fine. I guess you can break it.
I agree.
So anyways, Dust is talking about that memo that Highborn sent to everyone. Basically, Highborn's Institute is under investigation. His big giant file that he sent to everyone was posted online, and now everyone's losing their shit. So basically, the fact that they went to the secure server area was completely fucking pointless because it ended up online anyways. The FBI stormed places in the middle of the night, arrested 8 of Highborn's doctors, and started seizing things. Either they don't know that the Department of Homeland Defense was in bed with Highborn, or they're pretending they didn't in hopes it will slow down some of the crazy, which is wild. His file didn't just leak the medical records of the shifters he tortured and the intelligence his people had gathered on Atlas. It also listed over 100 high-ranking global power players he believes to be shifters, named he added to a hit list that started circulating the dark web a few years ago. In the time since his original post, 16 of those people were murdered or mysteriously disappeared. Also, Highborn's people have been tracking Atlas for years, following his comings and goings, trying to locate his compound, and because of that, they think they figured out where a portal is. So basically, it will be guarded. It will be guarded, but it won't be spelled against outsiders, so they won't need Sierra, because there will be his private entrance, which is possibly a good thing because he won't be expecting that, right? So, Sierra's gonna go off, not join them because, like, she's not needed and, like, she doesn't need any more PTSD.
Sure, that's what's happening here.
So, basically, Ren makes a sex joke in front of everyone, and Chris is like, "I'm so proud." Right?
That's so hard.
Ren POV. I'm pretty sure this is where she goes into Luke's memories to try to find her sister, right? And she sees dozens of kids, filthy and freezing, scared to death, herded into a stall bar somewheres. And there's a little girl. Yep. And it's heavily hinted that that little girl is Ren. And there's someone else who is Luke in the memory, right? Telling her that Scarlet is right over there, which is the name of her sister, right? Um, and so basically, Luke helps her out, helps get her safe, all this fun stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to skip this so I can finish this. So, basically, Luke later on helps Scarlet, escape and, get onto a plane and go elsewhere. Uh, and when she takes his hand, she shivers and then says into his eyes, "You're going to meet someone, an amazing girl, the best person I've ever met. You're going to think you hate her at first, but she's going to save your life. Believe me, it's my king gift. I know love. I see it. It's coming to you, but not before a lot of pain, a lot of loss. It's not going to be easy, but she's worth it. She's so worth it. So take care of her, okay? But you should." And he's all like, sure. And tells her to get on the plane and that she's headed to Thailand, so they know. And she says, no, no, no. This is exactly where I'm going. The Fae have a secret fortress there. Don't tell anyone but her. Basically sending a message to her, to Ren through Luke's memories to be like, hey, this is where I'm gonna be. Come say hi. So I'm assuming we're gonna see Scarlet in the next one. If she's not dead. Good times. Anyways, there's like this whole moment where Ren's like, oh my god, you saved my sister. I love you. You know, good times. So Crane says he'll send a message to the people for her to be like, hey, looking for Scarlet, we got your sister. It is said that the Fata Morgana throne has so much power because that's where all the other supernaturals came from. So good times. And so they decide to go on a shopping trip, right? And they question what will they do if she defeats Alice. What are they gonna do with his mates? Right? And and she's worried about how things are gonna get worse before they can get better, and she's not sure if she can survive that. And then the last Korean chapter, which is the penultimate chapter, is basically they're on a shopping trip, right? And Sierra's like forcing him to go into a specific store, and he's like, "This is suspicious. This is weird."
I think I agree.
And he's like thinking this is weird, but his mouth says, "Sure, let's go." And he's like, "Aw, shit," because he's being mind controlled by Atlas. She starts questioning if he's okay, and he's all like, "Sure, just fine."
I'm gonna go with you.
Yep. So basically, she knows that he's being mind controlled, and so she like blows him a kiss and then goes through the portal. And both her and Sierra, right, go through the portal and leave him behind. And he's just left there. I think the mind control ends at that point. But yeah, she's basically like, she understands what's happening. She understands that he's being mind controlled. She blows him a kiss, basically telling him that it's not his fault, and then goes through. I'm fucking fine. Anyways, the way that's the third Korean chapter. We get 3 Korean chapters, and the last one is him being mind controlled. Fuck you. Anyways,
I
last
agree.
chapter.
Listen.
So basically, Ren understands that Sierra hasn't been Sierra for a long time. There's some weird goo. Basically, there's like, he's like wearing, he can like change his face. That's also a thing. So he basically tries to get her to join him because 2 Fata Morganas together, it's a lot of power. So he's like, we could work together, and like maybe I'll like save some of the people you love. And she's just like, I'm good. You started the violence. He confirms that he killed Carrie Ann when she went full squirrel. ripped her head from her body.
Mm-hmm.
So he says that there isn't another inhabitable planet close enough for us to reach, not even in spore form. Believe me, I've tried, which is interesting. So basically, he has a mate who can see the future as well, named Desdemona, who's shown him a bunch of things. And he says that you even can come to love me. I can be everything you need, Red. I can make you believe they're still here with you. All the people you love, every single one of them. And so, basically, she won't join him, so he's all like, I'll make you join me. You'll either die, from me trying, or you will become mine. Basically saying that they're going to be mated. And then, it gives her a fungal parasite. It is a so-called zombie parasite. If you're very strong, very lucky, you'll fight your way free of its control. Come find me on the other side. If not, you'll be gently surrounded by all the things that make you truly happy when you die. And that's how the book ends. By a zombie parasite. Zombie fungus parasite is how this book ends. Anyways, I rated it 4 stars and it was really good, and how dare the fuck she dare. Why?
I agree. I really do.
Oh good, the weird static ended.
Not it disconnecting my earbuds from the call?
I can tell. It's fine. We're almost done.
It was probably staticky because my mother called me and I didn't answer.
How dare your mother call you? Do you have any thoughts and opinions about this book?
Hold on.
Other than I should read the next one immediately. Do I have it already downloaded on Kindle? I should check. Not the new cover for Neon Gauze. Oh my god. Sorry, I just got distracted because Katie Roberts' Dark Olympus series is getting new covers, right? And she just posted what all the new covers look like. And
I'm sorry, my earbuds are connected, but you're not playing through them.
Hell yeah!
That don't make no sense.
Party! My earbuds do that sometimes too.
Anyways, book good book. I don't remember it at all. It's been over a year since I've read it, but I remember it being very good. I remember the third one not being as good for me, so, but I still think I gave it like 5 stars because, you know.
Fine. I'm not happy about that. Don't think I already have it downloaded. And that is sad. Oh my god, Dino Stud.
Oh my god.
I should download it then. Yeah, good book good. I rated 4 stars like the first one. I like this one more than the first one just because it wasn't a bunch of exposition about the background of Schefters and all this stuff, right? It was more about the characters in this one. So, which sounds weird because I'm a plot bitch, not a character bitch, but I guess in this instance I want the characters. Weird.
I'm a character bitch, and the second one is my favorite, but that's just a constant thing for me. The second book in a trilogy is usually my favorite.
See, it's usually my least favorite, but I really like this one. Hey, that's the thing. With a lot of the series that you tell me to read, it's always the middle book that's my favorite. Because, like, the middle book of Mara Dyer is my favorite. The middle book of this one so far is my favorite. What kind of magical fucking powers do you have? I have an issue with middle book syndrome, but apparently you saved me.
I save you from a lot of things, but why?
I would like you know my carpal tunnel is acting up real bad in my right hand, and I'm about to go edit this 1.5 long episode, so well, pray for me.
Praying for you.
Thank you. Let me end this episode off by saying links below. Do the things.
Please.
Next episode of the same series, the last book in this series, will be next month, end of next month. Next episode in general will be Things We Hide from the Light. That's the name of it, right? Which will be about a year after that we did the episode on the first one. Wow. I accidentally did it twice. Don't worry, I have the third one and last one of that series planned also, or in the next few months. So it's fine. We love that for me. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Things, me, promote things, stuff below. I already said that.
It's always there.
It's always there.
Always awesome.
Podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. You know, I always forget that's on Apple Podcast because no one fucking listens there. Actually, one person does, and that makes me really happy. Because I went through all the work to put it there.
I agree.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm ending it now. Do you have anything else to say?